Hello everyone, today I'm gonna review Star Wars Kenobi written by John Jackson Miller. I've just finished reading it and I was really impressed. I was not expecting this. It's actually a very different Star Wars novel from the rest. It's a Star Wars novel written in a Western setting, so with a Western style, kind of how The Mandalorian is in the series, but this one is a novel. So that's pretty much how I could portray it at first. I really liked it. It's not as sci-fi-ish as the other Star Wars novel. It's very different from the rest, but it's actually very good. It's actually one of my favorite Star Wars novels now that I've thought about it. So the story goes like this. So we just follow Obi-Wan after he has defeated Anakin in Mustafar. He comes to Tatooine in order to deliver Luke to the Lars family, and he's basically trying to stay in the shadows and just watch over Luke without drawing too much attention. The problem is that he meets a certain Annalene and Kaylee, her daughter, whom he saves from a distressful situation because he is still a Jedi. He still has this sort of impulse to help others, to help the helpless when he needs to, but or when he's constrained to do so rather. But the problem is that without him wanting to, he draws attention to himself because the people in this small native world, they want to know everybody who's around. And so in such a small community such as a settler's estate in Tatooine, everybody wants to know you. And so Obi-Wan draws attention on himself without wanting to. And he's especially constrained to do so when this settlers community is constantly attacked by a Tusken leader called Ayark, which is known to the settlers as Plug-Eye. And this Tusken is so much of a threat that the community has established a security system called the Settler's Call, which which is a security system that broadcasts the sound of a crate dragon in order to scare off the Tuskens. And the leader of this security perimeter, the one who established it, is a character named Oren Gold. And slowly but surely, his path is coming at odds with Obi-Wan's, especially when it is about Annalene. So Obi-Wan and Annalene are sort of having a sort of feelings for each other. But Obi-Wan, of course, being a Jedi, has to restrain himself from love, and he is trying to protect her and the rest of the settlers without them knowing who he is. So he is constantly trying to protect his identity without leaving them in danger. So that's pretty much how I could summarize the book. What I really loved about it is that it really shows you that even in a small community, what happened in a galaxy-wide perspective, so for example how the Empire came to rule, such a scheme could also happen in a smaller world such as Tatooine and in a small community such as the settlers were following. So I'm not going to spoil you, but many characters um, are sort of metaphors for the characters. So many characters in this community have parallels with other well-known characters in the Star Wars universe, and they're sort of showing you that nobody's perfect and that really it doesn't take much for tyranny to spring, even in such a small community where at first everything seems to be so calm, but once you start digging deeper, you still realize that some things and some people don't get along too much, and some people have their own schemes going on. So that's something I really loved about this novel. And I really loved how Obi-Wan is portrayed. So he is definitely a more fleshed out character than he was in the Obi-Wan series that Disney showed. I was never a big fan of this series. He doesn't take uncalculated risks, and he, for the most part, keeps his cover intact. And even when his cover is sort of revealed, he knows that it's going to be solved in a matter of no time. So he's definitely more cautious, and I really loved it. Another thing also is that this novel is really compelling and really interesting in the sense that after the end of each chapter, you really want to read the next one. You sort of you almost can't put this book down because of how interesting it is, and I really appreciated it for it. So yeah, so thinking about it, I don't think this novel has any major flaw. I really loved it all the way through, and I would definitely recommend you to read it. So pick this novel as soon as you can, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. You should definitely read it. Thank you, and have a very nice day.